You are welcome to the Messiah Revelation channel. Today we are looking at Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, and we are looking at it as a roadmap to nuclear Armageddon. And we need to prepare. We are in the end of days, the last hours. 1,000 years is one day to the Lord, and one day is 1,000 years. Why is Ukraine important? It's important because on the day that Russian troops officially entered Ukraine in 2022, I was given a vision about fire, nuclear fire. And I would say nuclear fire because I saw fire burning, a nuclear mushroom crowd, and I was looking for somebody to quench the fire. So I saw someone and I asked him to quench the fire, and then he said he would not be able to do it. He will not do it. I have to report it to the fire department. And so the fire was unquenchable. And when you see a vision about unquenchable fire in regards to Ukraine, particularly the first day in February 2022 when Russia officially entered Ukraine. And then you know that the vision is prophetic. It's about apocalypse. And the fire is unquenchable. And as you are aware, the fire in Ukraine is unquenchable since the year 2022. You know, the Ukraine war and the consequences are apocalyptic, and that's why we are looking at Ukraine as a roadmap, as a pathway to nuclear Armageddon. And we are doing this video in light of the current events, the current situation in Ukraine, and the current geopolitical tension between NATO and Russia. And as you are aware, Putin drew up many red lines, and some of the red lines have been crossed and have been ignored. But there's a particular red line which is very, very crucial. And that red line is whether NATO and United States will allow Ukraine to use longer range missiles to attack Russia inside Russia. Longer range missiles will allow Ukraine to target assets inside Russia. And who knows if the longer range missiles will carry nuclear weapons. And Putin says that that is a major red line. And I believe that this time Putin will not be bluffing because allowing Ukraine to target Russia inside Russia with longer range missiles will be a threat to the existence of Russia. And Russian officials have responded, and they have responded that if that red line is crossed, then it will have potential consequences. And we are putting this in a broader prophetic end time context. We're doing this because number one, we know that the final trumpet of heaven has sounded based upon a vision I had on August 27, 2013. And all these events are happening at the time of the sounding of the final trumpet of heaven, or the seventh trumpet of heaven. March 2017. I saw another vision, and in this vision, I saw the words rapture and tribulation written on a TV screen. And from that vision, I conclude that a major event will happen and that will have a global impact. And it is that event that will trigger the rapture and the tribulation. For those of you who have heard about the rapture before, it is real. Some people assume that the rapture is not happening because rapture is not found written in the Bible. We are not going into details about the rapture. We are looking at Ukraine, and we are looking at the roadmap to global nuclear Armageddon. And so when we're talking about Europe deciding to allow Ukraine to use longer range missiles inside Russia, and the European Parliament met and they agreed, and they agreed to allow Ukraine to use longer range missiles inside Russia. Of course, they are giving a green light to Ukraine to cross a red line in Russia. And what are the potential consequences? Of course, European Parliament represents Europe. It is a political organization under the auspices of a military organization that is NATO, and that includes United States. And both United States and NATO have an interest in the Ukraine war. And so what will be the potential consequences if longer range missiles from Ukraine attack Russia? Of course, Putin has said that would be a declaration of war. And when there's a declaration of war, you know that that war will be nuclear. And all evidences show that Russia and NATO are preparing for a nuclear Armageddon, potentially preemptive nuclear strike. You are living in a world where the preparation towards World War III has started. You see cyber pandemic. And when you see the cyber warfare going on, and you remember what happened between Israel and Hezbollah, explosion of devices, communication devices, a major cyber war in history. It's a prelude, it's a precursor to the coming global Armageddon. And Ukraine has overtaken the Middle East as the most dangerous geopolitical theater because Ukraine provides the clearest roadmap to nuclear Armageddon, probably more than the Middle East. And here we are looking at the decision by Europeans to allow Ukraine to use longer range missiles inside Russia that will constitute a declaration of war. And when there's a declaration of war, definitely, it will be a nuclear war. And so we can say it will be a nuclear Armageddon. And it's not surprising because it's part of prophecy. Even when you take prophecy away, you know that the elites in the world, and when I say the elites in the world, I'm talking about the agents of Lucifer, the Luciferian elites. They are resetting the world. They are interested in a global nuclear Armageddon because it will fit their plans. It will fit their manifesto. And their manifesto is traceable to John 10, verse 10. Satan came to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And his agents controlling nations and controlling military capabilities and controlling the media. They have planned to reset the world, to initiate a new world order. And that new world order has political, economic, and military components. And here we are talking about the military components. Staging a war that will be global in nature, that will be nuclear, and that will cause a mayhem, and so that the prince of this world, Lucifer, will be able to bring in, and the Antichrist will be able to take as many people as possible to hell and to the lake of fire. If there's a nuclear Armageddon, you know how the weapons of an Armageddon will be displayed, and I'm only focusing on one of them. Satan II missile developed by Russia, touted by Russia as the most dangerous weapon of record. RS-28 Samad missiles, popularly known as Satan II missiles. It's a long-range missile, and potentially the missile can strike Strasbourg in 3 minutes 20 seconds. In 3 minutes 20 seconds, that missile can strike Strasbourg. Strasbourg is the capital of the European Union, where we have the Parliament, the European Parliament in Strasbourg, in France. Of course, the European headquarters is in Brussels, Belgium, and the NATO headquarters is there in Brussels. European Parliament is in France, Strasbourg, and the missile from Russia can strike Strasbourg within 3 minutes 20 seconds. And definitely, the European Parliament could be destroyed in that process. The Satan II missiles has other capabilities, 10,000 to 18,000 kilometers range, and it means that it has the potential to hit any place on Earth, including United States, and it carries 10 to 16 warheads. And because it carries that warhead, many warheads, potentially it can confuse the enemy defenses, and it can cause a lot of mayhem because it potentially carries 10 to 16 warheads, and it can confuse the enemy defenses. And they are saying, the Russians are saying, that it has the potential to destroy a territory as large as Texas, and it can destroy the whole British, the Ireland, the British territory, the country, Britain. Satan II missiles potentially can destroy a country as large as Britain, as large as France, and a state as large as Texas in the United States. And it has the avant-garde hypersonic missiles that potentially will be undetectable. And so the enemies will not have any defenses to that weapon. And so we are living at a time where we are heading closer and closer to nuclear Armageddon. And you see how Ukraine could be a roadmap to nuclear Armageddon. And so what do you do? what we do is to assess the situation and know that we are in the end of days. Potentially, we are heading towards a nuclear Armageddon between Russia and Europe, and directly and indirectly between Russia and the United States. And it will be a war that will be consequential. And prophetically, I believe that it is a type of war that could trigger the rapture and the tribulation based upon the vision that I saw in March 2017. Because in that vision, a major event happened in the world, and after that event, or in the middle of that event, the rapture and the tribulation came. And you need to prepare yourself. And in your preparation, you need to know that there's no name that provides salvation except the name of Yeshua, Jesus Christ. John chapter 1, verse 4, in him is life. And if you have not prepared for the coming Armageddon, you need to prepare. As I'm making this video, I have revelation about things that are going to happen, and I will not go into details about them. You may believe it or you may not believe it. Some of you may consider that to be a conspiracy theory. That will be fine for you, because if you believe it is a conspiracy theory and so you don't take it, I have done my assignment, and my assignment is to warn. And I'm warning that the fire that is unquenchable has already started. And that fire started in Ukraine. And on the first day that Russia entered Ukraine, I was given a vision about a fire, and a nuclear fire, a fire of war, global war, that is unquenchable. And nothing has dispelled the truth that this war, the war in Ukraine, is unquenchable, and it's taking so many dimensions. And now the European Parliament has agreed to allow Ukraine to use longer range missiles inside Russia. And if it is supported by NATO and supported by United States, that would be a declaration of war, according to Putin and his advisors. And when there's a declaration of war between Russia and NATO, you know that it's a nuclear war. And when there's a nuclear war at this time, you know that it is a nuclear Armageddon. And you should not be surprised, because all these events were predicted in prophecies in the Bible, in Matthew 24, in Luke 21, and also in the book of Revelation. And it gives you time to prepare. And when I say prepare, I'm not talking about the prepper channels that are preparing you to go and hide in the bunker and to buy more food. No amount of food will save you, because what will save you is not food. What will save you is the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, believing in him and preparing. Preparing means repenting from your sin and waiting for the arrival of the Messiah. He's coming the second time. And Lucifer is aware of that. And so Lucifer is using the kings of this earth to carry his agenda. And you should not be surprised, because the scriptures in Revelation chapter 17, verse 17 is very clear. It is the will of the one who sits on the throne, Elohim, to allow the kings of this earth to carry the agenda, the presidents and the prime ministers, the military commanders, to give their kingdom to the beast. They are preparing to give their kingdom to the beast, to Lucifer and his agent, the Antichrist, and the false prophet. And when they are preparing the seat for Lucifer, you know that we are very close to the end of the earth, the world. The end of this world is coming, and it is showing you signs. And one of the signs is Ukraine and the roadmap that it will provide for nuclear Armageddon, as Europeans are preparing to cross a red line, allowing Ukraine to have longer range missiles that will strike nuclear powered Russia in order for Russia to retaliate and plunge the world into bloodshed and apocalypse, to serve the mandate and the plans of Lucifer, who came to steal, to kill, and destroy. We are in the end times, and this is a warning message for you to prepare, and you work for your salvation with fear and trembling, as stated in the book of Philippians chapter 2 verse 12. Thank you for watching this message.